Hey, so we decided to go on a little walk today. We're on the east side of Ala Moana Beach Park, which sounds like what it is. It is a park that has a beach running along the length of it. It's pretty long. I want to say it's like a mile long, which is pretty significant, especially the fact that it's in the middle of Honolulu. I don't know if you can, how well you can make it out, but those are pretty tall condominiums. You have a harbor on this side, and yeah, it's literally in the middle of Honolulu, which is why we love it. We live maybe 10 minutes walking from here, so we love to come down and just go for a walk. We're gonna walk around this area called Magic Island, which is on the same side of the park as we are. It's not actually an island. From my understanding, it was man-made and originally designated to be where a resort was going to be built, but they ran out of funding and it just got converted to a public park, which is awesome for us. One of the great things about this park is that it actually has a huge parking lot. Obviously, like any city, parking is going to be an issue, but even on busy days, in our experience, there's always some amount of parking. Maybe it's not exactly, you know, super convenient as far as right next to the beach, but at least you're not going to be stranded somewhere. So while we're enjoying this beautiful day at the park, I wanted to go over 3 things you should consider when purchasing cars using financing. The first thing is resale value. The reason why I talk about this as opposed to other factors like specifics about cars that you're gonna go out and consider is because negative equity is going to kill you if you decide Turo's not for you. So if you go out and buy a $60,000 Land Rover that loses 25% of its value in that first year, well, you're not going to be paying off 25% of the loan in that first year, which means you're going to have this big gap between what the car's worth and how much you still owe on the car. That takes away all flexibility of you deciding, you know what, maybe Turo's not for me. You know, I have my 9 to 5, I have my other side hustles, and I can't fit Turo into my schedule. Well, it's going to be one of those things where you better find time to fit Turo into your schedule. The second thing is your timeline. If you are not planning on buying any of your cars in cash, obviously you're going to need bank financing. Banks don't like seeing the fact that you already own 3, 4, 5 cars. Most banks are going to say no, especially when these loans are barely paid off. But the way around this is you have to decide in the beginning, how aggressive do you want to be with purchasing vehicles? How big do you want your fleet to be? And that's not something to take lightly, right? If you're a one-man show, it's going to be really hard to manage 6+ cars. And I'm speaking from personal experience. So if you decide, you know what, I do want a large fleet, I do have the free time and the motivation to take on this large project, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to purchase cars in a short timeline. You're also going to have to accept the fact that it's probably going to put a very, very big dent in your personal credit. So if you're planning on buying a home or a personal car within the next year or years, that's something you're going to have to realize you're sacrificing. But the point is that when you purchase a car, it's not going to show up for a couple months on your credit report. That gives you a window of opportunity to go out and essentially buy as many cars as you want. Because when the dealer pulls up your credit report, as long as you just purchase these other vehicles, they're not going to show up. So essentially you've got the freedom to purchase as many cars as you're willing to you know, take the risk on. Thirdly, down payment. Nobody wants to put a down payment, and every dealer wants you to put a down payment. Simple as that. How do you get around this? Well, there is no real easy way. The quote-unquote easy way is to have a good credit score. In my experience, what's considered a good credit score is 740 or above. Thankfully, I did have a score that was above 740 when I went out and started purchasing these vehicles. So I literally put no down payment on not all 6. I was forced. Tesla, if you finance through Tesla, they force you to put a down payment no matter your credit score. So if you count that one, then we put that down payment and then a $500 down payment on the Porsche. But that's for other reasons. That's because we had a pre-approved loan through a different financier, and we just had to cover the difference between our maximum loan amount allowed and the amount we were purchasing for the car. So we covered that $500. I don't even know if you really want to call that a traditional down payment, because we weren't getting financing through Porsche. So because of a good credit score, you can avoid any sort of down payment. Don't let the dealership talk you into putting down a single dollar. Honestly, a lot of them are going to want, 10% down or whatever the case may be. It's not necessary. And as far as your monthly payment, 10% down is not going to affect your monthly payment significantly, but it'll definitely have an effect on the capital that you're starting with. We're comfortable having at least minimum 3 months worth of savings of business expenses. So if my business expenses, just loosely talking, not specific number, $5,000, we make sure we always have at least $15,000 in our business account. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. When you're putting down 10% down payments on $50,000 cars, all of a sudden that becomes a little more difficult. So those are just 3 things that we wish we had considered maybe a little more closely. Mostly the first one, right? The first one is what really got us, specifically with our Range Rover Evoque. And that was just kind of getting complacent and getting a little too excited, because we did initially think about that. We bought 2 Teslas, great resale value. Porsche was our 3rd car, great resale value. And then we went astray getting 2 Range Rovers, the Evoque and the Velar. And frankly, we're stuck with those. We sold the 2 Teslas. We actually made profit on the standard range, and we broke even from the financing amount on the long range. We could easily get rid of the Porsche and maybe take a small hit, but as far as the Land Rovers, like, good luck taking a little hit on those if we wanted to get rid of them. So just stuff to think about. I mentioned earlier that this park runs the length roughly 1 mile. I'm not sure if that's completely accurate, but you can see how long this beach actually is. This is right here, this area where the main part of the park connects to the area we are, which is, this is Magic Island. Those are famous condos called Park Lane. The Ala Moana Mall is all along here. Last I heard, it's the 7th largest mall in America. I think it's the largest outdoor mall, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, like I mentioned also, we're in the middle of Honolulu. It's pretty amazing that, you can go from a huge mall like that and literally cross the street and be at the beach. We live roughly over there. So this is, for us, a perfect location. And honestly, if you're staying in Waikiki, it's almost a no-brainer to make the trip out here. Waikiki is right across the canal, right here. Like, if you could see through the trees and everything, the canal's over there. Across the canal, you're in Waikiki, so you might as well cross the canal this way and come to this beach. It's, in my opinion, you can't even compare it to Waikiki Beach, which a lot of locals agree is the most overrated beach on this island. We're further down Magic Island right now. Just wanted to point out how blue and clear the water is today. It's never that murky or anything like that, but today seems especially nice. Okay, here we are at the end of Magic Island. See a little parasailer over there. And another great part about Magic Island is this beach. So at the end of the peninsula is Magic Island Beach. This little like lagoon area with a picturesque view of Diamond Head. Frankly, this is definitely one of the best views of Diamond Head you're gonna get from a beach. Like I mentioned earlier, skip Waikiki, just come straight over here. Either Ala Moana, which at this point is over there. You can actually see majority of the beach, or a good section of the beach right there. Or walk to the end of the peninsula, Magic Island, and come to this little secluded area. And you can actually recognize that building. That's the Rainbow Tower for Hilton Hawaiian Village, very popular resort. You can see the, I think I'm pointing the right thing, kind of hard to make out on the screen, sorry. I believe that's the Ilikai Hotel. Well, yeah, that's Waikiki right there. Beautiful day. So obviously you saw the people paddling out, but one thing I hope you can see also are the bodyboarders. This is a very popular location for bodyboarding specifically. That's where we walked in through the park to get to Magic Island. And so right outside the harbor. That's kind of give you some reference. Of course, Diamond Head, and as I pointed out before, Waikiki. So yeah, that's Magic Island. You saw a little bit of Ala Moana Beach Park. Kind of got a perspective of where it's located in relation to the mall in Waikiki. And then obviously we went over some of that Turo stuff starting out. So what I kind of want to do is go over a lot of Turo stuff. Obviously it takes up a big portion of my life, but I want to incorporate it with just the beauty of the island and, you know, showing how much I appreciate being able to do Turo here specifically. Obviously Turo is something you can do, it seems like, in every metropolitan area, but I'm super lucky to be doing it in Honolulu. If you could drop a like, subscribe, all that typical YouTube stuff that everybody says, it is greatly appreciated. As you can tell, I'm just starting out, so right now it's just kind of fun and exciting, so any support is appreciated. Thanks.